Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to another GameMaker tutorial. For this tutorial, we're going to be doing the 3D Magic RPG game series that I've been doing. I've got a couple announcements. Number one is that I've decided to do a schedule with my videos. So every Saturday, I'm going to do a series video. In this case, the series that I'm doing is the 3D Magic RPG. On Tuesdays, I'm going to do a single video, which will be just a smaller video that's not part of a series that teaches some specific concept of GameMaker. So I've got quite a few of those that I'll be doing. And then on Thursday, I'm going to do a Let's Pixel video. And I might do videos in between if I feel like it, but that will be kind of like the base. So those days, you can come to my channel and there will be a new video. You can kind of have that guaranteed. That way you guys know when to look for it. I can be more consistent with my videos. It'll just be better all around. So the other announcement is, just like always, my GameMaker book. There's a link in the description if you want to check that out. I would really appreciate it. I'm getting really close. It's supposed to come out next month. So the end of this month, in fact, the start of next week, I'm going to start working with my editor so we can edit it over the course of next month. So I'm really excited about that. And let's get started on this video. Now, I recorded some preparation work for it, and I would show you what the final product will look like, except that somehow it got deleted. So that was a little bit frustrating. I think I remember it well enough that I can do it without that, though. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a sprite. Call this sprite Fireball. Edit the sprite and let's make it, let's see, I think I did 16 by 16. Let's come into it and just choose this red color, I guess. This won't even be shown on the screen. We're just using this as a base. For the fireball spell. So we're going to add spells into the game today. Just a basic version of spells. We're also going to add stats and some basic stats. So create a new object, call this object fireball. Create another object, call this object player stats. Okay, and I actually need to open up a different reference file that I'm going to be using because we'll be doing the particle system in it as well. So let me open that up real quick here. It'll be a similar particle system to the one that was used in my RTS videos. So if you guys use that particle system, then you'll already kind of know. Okay, we're going to create first things first. Let's not worry about particles for a second. Let's create our player stats. So in the player stats object, first thing we're going to do is make this object persistent. So click the persistent box. That just means that this object will survive through all of our rooms. That way that from room to room, our stats don't change or get reset. Excuse me. So you can set, add a create event and drag over a code. Initialize the player's stats. Global, let's see, let's do health first. Global.hp. Let's see, let's actually do level and experience first. Global.level equals 1. global dot experience equals 0, global dot max experience equals 10. Now you have to do expr because exp is already taken. It's already a built-in variable. Now we're gonna do health. Global.hp equals 25. Global.max HP equals global.hp. Now we'll do spell and attack. No, we don't need to do attack. We'll just do spell. Spell global.spell equals object fireball. So we're setting the fireball object to the spell. That way you can just create whatever object is assigned to the spell variable. It's really useful. And we do need to have a mana cost though. Global.spell cost equals, in this one I'm just going to do 1. It'll cost 1 mana to cast this spell, so we can cast it 10 times. Oh, we forgot to do mana. I knew I was forgetting one. Global.mana equals 10. Global.max mana equals global.mana. There we go. So we've got all our stats set up now. Okay, come to your room, and I'm going to save this. In the room, add the global player stats. For the fireball, give it the sprite fireball. Come into and go add a create event for it. Let's see. We're just gonna set its speed and direction. So initialize the fireball. Speed equals I think I did 8. Direction equals point direction. X, Y, mouse underscore X, mouse underscore Y. If I can spell mouse correctly, that is. And let's see, we're going to have these set up on an alarm. So this spell actually, we're trying to have each spell be in control of as much of itself as possible so that the spells are kind of separate from the player for the most part. Let's have this spell set object player dot alarm, because we'll have an alarm for this, and do alarm 0, definitely not alarm 90, equals 12, maybe 10. Let's do 10. So this is going to be the charge time for the spell between each fire. Takes 10 steps before you can fire again. Okay. Add event, do other outside room, and we're just going to destroy it. Destroy if outside room. And that's just, if you don't destroy them, then you'll get infinite objects in your game. It'll start to lag really bad. So, okay. Our fireball is set up. I'm going to save. Come into object player. Come into the step event. And right under move down, do fire the spell. If mouse check button, and do MB left. If alarm 0 equals -1, and let's see, if alarm 0 equals -1, and global dot spell cost is less than or equal to global.mana. So we want to make sure we have enough mana to cast the spell. So that's why we need to check that. Then instance create XY object fireball. Global.mana minus equals global.spell cost. And our object will set this alarm so that it doesn't fire multiple times. Do an else at the end of our mouse check. So the outside brackets. So if they're not pressing the mouse button, then we want the mana to recharge. So if global.mana is less than global dot less than global dot max mana, global dot mana plus equals global dot max mana divided by 50. So we'll start to recharge our mana. If global dot mana is greater than global dot max mana, we need to set it to the same because we don't want our mana to ever go over the maximum. Global.mana equals global.max mana. Okay, so now we should be able to fire the fireball. Let's go into our game and actually test it. Oh, wait, no, not yet. We need to add the alarm into the player. So add an alarm, and you just need to drag over a code and put a comment so the compiler doesn't delete the event. So this is the spell alarm. Okay, let's run the game, see what happens. Okay, so we can fire the spell, and once we run out of mana, we can't fire it anymore. We have to let off the mouse button to recharge some mana. In a video after this, we'll be doing the player's stats drawn on the HUD, on the GUI layer. So I'll be doing that in the video after this. But for now, let's work on that fireball because it doesn't look very good. Also, we want the player to, this player actually has an animation. We're just not animating it. For now, we're just going to clip to the 5th image for casting the spell. It won't look too bad. So go to the object player, come back into the step event, and right down here when we actually cast a spell, we're going to do image index equals 5, and outside of this, do image index equals 0. So if they're not pressing the left button, our image index will be 0. If they are, it'll be 5, which will just make it look like we're casting the spell. Okay, we won't actually run that real quick, just because it'll take some time. So we've got our stats and we've got our fireball. Oh, also in the next video, I'll be showing you guys how to do a spell selection menu, where we can start adding new spells and the player can unlock them. It'll be really cool. I'm excited about it. So let's do another object, and we'll call this object PS, which stands for object particle system. Add an event, create event. We're going to create our particle system. So initialize the particle system. Global.ps equals part system create. And let's create the fire and spark particle types, because I'm going to use 2 particle types to make this better. And we're going to use scripts for these. Script part fire init and script part spark init. There we go. They don't exist yet though, so we're going to get an error. We'll have to create them. Do a game end event, add event, other game end. So we can make sure and clean up our particle system and particle types. Part type destroy global.pt fire, part type destroy global.pt spark, part system destroy global.ps, so our global particle system. Destroy the particle system and types. There. Okay, so we've got some work ahead of us. Now let's create a couple scripts. We'll need to create the scripts for the two different particle types. I've got a reference for this, so I'm going to open that one up. Do a new script. Script part fire init. Script part fire init. Okay, that one's good. And I'm going to duplicate it, and we'll just name this one script part spark init. There we go. Now we need to create this particle type for the fire. Global.pt fire equals part type create. So create it, assign it to that global variable. We don't want to, for this specific code here, we don't want to have to type global.pt fire the whole time, so we're going to create a temporary variable, var pt, which just stands for particle type, equals global.pt fire. That way we have a reference to the global variable, and we don't have to call it every time. Part type shape, pt shape. I figured explosion worked best for this one, actually, for the fire. Part type size, pt 0.05.1. We're probably gonna have to mess around with these values a little bit. Part type color 3, pt C white, C red, C maroon. Okay. Now part type speed, pt 1300. Part type direction, pt 0360 00. Part type blend, pt true. Part type life, pt 4 and 8. I don't know, we might have to change that. Part type alpha, pt 1 and 0.5. So that's alpha 2. Sorry, part type alpha 2. Okay. So we're going to have to mess with these values a little bit, I'm sure. If you don't know what these different arguments are, you can just click here and it will list them down at the bottom. You can see we have the ID of the particle type, which is pt. We've got the direction minimum, direction maximum, direction increase, and direction wiggle. So we have a 0 minimum, 360 maximum, 0 increase, 0 wiggle. Pretty basic. All these have those things. The blend is important here. This is what makes it look really a lot like fire. We're just doing an additive blend. This can slow down older computers, but I've never really had any problem with it on just, basic computers. So let's copy this whole thing right here and go to the part spark in it. and paste it in, and just take out the fire part, change this to spark and this to spark, and we can do part type color 2 instead of color 3, and just take out one of these colors. We'll do red, and no, let's do white and yellow. For the shape, we're going to do, instead of an explosion, we're going to do, which one was it? Flare. No, it wasn't flare. Spark. Yeah, that's why I've named it spark. PT shape spark. We're going to have to make the size a little bit smaller. So make this 2.5 here and maybe this 0.05 there. I know for a fact we're going to have to mess around with these values. Trust me. Okay, so save now and come into your fireball object. And let's see if I can remember how to do this from my other video. We're going to create the particles. So add a step event. Uncheck visible on the fireball because we don't want that ugly sprite to show anymore. And drag over a code here in the step event and do create the particles. Okay, we're going to do particles create global.ps, which is our particle system, x, y, global.pt fire 10. So the particle system we're creating it in is global.particle system. We're creating at our x and y position. We're creating the fire type that we created, and we're going to do 10 of them. Before we add in the spark type, let's just see what that looks like. The reason I wanted my preparation file is because then I want to fiddle around with this. Oh, and make sure that you put the particle system object in the room, because I forgot to do that. Oh, and the particle system object should be persistent as well between all the rooms. Okay. PT equals global.spark. Oh, go into our scripts. This should be global.pt underscore spark. I think when I copied it down, I don't know what I did. I messed it up. So fix that real quick. I probably wouldn't be getting these errors if GameMaker hadn't deleted my... Well, that doesn't look very good. PT fire, PT fire. That's the one we're creating, right? Is PT fire. Fire init, go into particle system. Fire init, that looks good. Maybe it's just my particles are... Yeah, I'm creating PT fire, global.pt fire. Must be. So come into our fire particles. We're going to have to fiddle around with this a little bit. Let's do 0.25 for our maximum size. And 0.075 for this. Oh, and this should be yellow. That's part of the problem too. Not white. That should be yellow, red, maroon. Okay, speed looks good. Life 4 and 8. I honestly don't remember. Oops, I meant to save, not open a new one. That could have been bad. Okay, that's looking better. That's more like what I would expect it to look like. So that looks pretty cool so far, actually. Pretty cool particles, fire particles. But we need to add a little bit of flair to it, and that's what the spark is going to do. So come into the fireball and the step event and copy this right here. And we're going to create, instead of fire, we're going to do spark. We're only going to create 4 of them, I guess. We're going to do x minus 6 plus random 12. Well, I guess we could do plus random range. Now let's -6 plus random 12. It's an easy way to do it. And we're going to do that for the y as well. Y -6 plus random 12. And I don't know what the sparks are going to look like. They might look horrible. We might have to fiddle around with their size a little bit as well. Yeah, they're way too small. I don't know. Maybe you guys like it that small. I think they'll look better a little bit bigger. So come into the spark. Do this as 0.5. This is 0.1 and just see what happens. That already looks a little bit better to me, but I honestly think that I could go a little bit bigger still. I wonder if we could do the same exact size, 0.75 and 0.25, or 0.075 and 0.25. That's what I did for the explosions, but these have a smaller graphic, so they're gonna look a little smaller. Oh, that looks pretty good actually. Definitely looks like magic, like wizardy to me. I don't think I used Spark. I think I might have actually used something else. I wonder what rectangle would look like. No, it's not rectangle, it's square. We'll have to make it smaller again. 0.05 and 0.1. That's probably going to be too big. This is the thing with particles, is you just have to mess around with them so much. Huh, that looks all pixelated. If you want a pixelated style, that's perfect. Let's look at some of the other options we have here. So we've got circle, cloud, disk, explosion, flare. Let's try a flare. I wonder what snow would look like. That seems like the opposite of what you'd want to do, but I'm just curious to see what it'll look like. Dang, that actually doesn't look too bad. Looks like sprinkles, actually. Let's do flare. Flare is, actually just let me show you guys what these look like. Flare kind of looks like snow. Did I change the wrong one? I did change the wrong one. This one's explosion. No wonder. Okay. This should be, so if you middle click on PT shape snow, it'll bring up the help file and you can see the different shapes and what they look like here. So I'm probably just going to go back. Actually, I'm probably going to try flare because I think flare might look pretty good for what we want. So I'm going to do flare. After this, I'm not going to fiddle around with it much more though, because you guys can do that to get it perfect. And I don't want to have the video be super long because of that. Yeah, I kind of like that right there. So now we've got a pretty cool looking fireball in our game that we can cast around, and if we hold it too long we'll run out of mana. Now in the next one we'll be needing to add in some enemies, add in our HUD. But yeah, this looks really cool. We'll add in spell switching. Oh man, I am excited for this game. I always wanted to finish this game because I started it forever ago. It looks really cool. I might actually change the way this fire looks still. I don't think it looks perfect to me, but I think this is a good start. You guys can mess around with it till you get it to something you like. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure and like, favorite, and subscribe. And check out my book in the description. That is really, my book is honestly the thing that makes it to where I'm like, oh, I might actually be able to one day do this full time. If I continue to do well with my book, and after I finish it and I continue to work on it, and you know, GameMaker 2.0 might be coming out here soon, I can update it for that, and maybe one day I'll actually be able to quit my day job and do this full time. That would be the best day ever. I could maybe actually finish Grain War because I've been working on it for so long. But okay, I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.